The truth about vegetarianism and Buddhism. What the Buddha really taught. Part 1. From a Meal to Compassion. Have you ever wondered why something as ordinary as a meal can become a doorway to peace? We eat every day, but most of us have forgotten how to eat. We eat for pleasure. We eat to escape. We eat because it's time. But few of us eat to awaken. In every meal, we are not only feeding the body, we are feeding the mind. And the question is, what are you feeding your mind with? Are you eating peace, or are you eating fear? Are you eating compassion, or someone suffering? Many people believe that being vegetarian is simply about not eating meat. Some say it's a religious rule. Others see it as a moral badge. But the Buddha never taught eating as a form of pride. He taught it as a practice of awareness. He said, "When you eat, know what you are eating. Know the life that made this food possible. Know the hands, the soil, the rain." Because when awareness enters your meal, the meal becomes sacred. So today, let us look deeper than the plate. Let us question not just what we eat, but why we eat, and how eating can either cloud the heart or open it. This is not about religion. It's about understanding life. It's about discovering how a simple act, like taking a bite of food, can teach us everything about compassion, awareness, and freedom. Welcome to Understanding Vegetarianism in Original Buddhism. Let us begin, not with rules, but with wisdom. Part 2. The Origin of Vegetarian Practice in Buddhism. Long before vegetarianism became a word, there was awareness. And long before people argued about diets, the Buddha spoke about the mind behind the meal. He didn't tell everyone to stop eating meat. He simply said, "Do not kill. Do not create the cause for suffering." It's not the meat that stains the heart. It's the intention behind it. When we harm a living being for our pleasure, we harm something sacred inside ourselves. In the ancient texts, the Nikaya, the Buddha taught that the true practice is not about rejecting food, but about purifying perception. To see clearly that every living creature, whether it crawls, swims, or flies, fears pain and loves life, just as we do. And when the heart truly sees this, something soft awakens within us. A tenderness, a quiet unwillingness to cause harm. That is where compassion begins. Buddha taught, when a person understands that all beings tremble before pain, they will stop causing pain. This is not a commandment. It's an awakening. The moment you see the fear in another creature's eyes, you can no longer pretend not to see. You don't avoid meat because you are told to. You avoid it because your heart simply cannot bear it. When we eat the flesh of another being, we also consume their fear, the energy of dying, the vibration of pain. And that fear becomes part of our own body, our own mind, our own restlessness. That is the law of cause and effect. What we take in shapes what we become. So the practice of mindful eating is not about purity of the body. It is about clarity of the heart. To eat with compassion is to say gently, "I choose peace, not just for myself, but for every being that breathes." We eat not because we are afraid of karma, but because we love enough to stop creating it. Because compassion does not begin in the mouth, it begins in the eyes, in the moment we see. Part 3. The Common Misunderstanding About Vegetarianism. when compassion turns into appearance. Many people think that being vegetarian is about following a rule, a sacred law to earn merit or purity. They think that by removing meat from the plate, they remove suffering from the world. But the Buddha never said, purity comes from the kind of food you eat. He said, purity comes from the mind that eats. Eating vegetables does not make us kind. Only a kind heart makes food pure. You can eat salad every day, but if anger still lives in your chest, you are still feeding on pain. Because anger is also a kind of meat, the meat of hatred, the flavor of ego, the taste of I am right. Buddha taught, if you eat without awareness, even a bowl of rice becomes heavy with ignorance. So the question is not what we eat, but how we eat, and who we are when we eat. If you eat in a hurry, if your mind is full of noise, if your heart burns with anger or pride, then even the purest meal loses its peace. Because food takes the shape of the mind that receives it. When compassion turns into a performance, it loses its light. When we make eating a ritual of pride, to look holy, to feel superior, we forget the very heart of compassion itself. Real compassion is quiet. It does not need to show. It simply acts softly, naturally, like a tree giving shade to all beings without asking who deserves it. The practice of eating is the same. When you sit down to eat, ask yourself, is this an act of love or an act of habit? Do I eat with gratitude, or do I eat to fill an emptiness inside? Because every bite is energy, and energy follows intention. So if you eat with fear, you feed fear. If you eat with greed, you feed greed. But if you eat with peace, with awareness, with love, you are feeding awakening itself. Being vegetarian is not a commandment. It's an expression of understanding. When you see life as sacred, you naturally choose not to harm it. No law needed, no religion required, just compassion. Seeing clearly, feeling deeply, and acting gently. Part 4. Eating the right way, purity beyond the plate. The Buddha once said, do not eat what you have seen, what you have heard, or what you suspect has been killed for you. At first, it sounds mysterious, almost poetic. But this is not poetry. It's psychology. It's awareness in its purest form. To not see, not hear, not suspect means this. Do not close your eyes to suffering. It means, don't pretend you didn't know. Don't turn compassion off when it's inconvenient. Because awareness is not selective. True awareness sees everything, even the pain we wish not to see. Buddha taught, compassion does not need effort. When you truly understand cause and effect, you simply cannot harm. You don't force yourself to be kind. You just can't be cruel anymore. That is the difference between discipline and awakening. Discipline says, I must not. Awakening whispers, I could never. Imagine for a moment a person watching a fish struggle in boiling oil. The sound, the smell, the fear. If the heart trembles, if compassion rises like a wave, that is the seed of true vegetarianism. Not born from religion, but from empathy. Not from rule, but from love. Eating the right way is not about being pure in the eyes of others. It's about being light in your own heart. When the body is light, the mind becomes clear. When the mind is clear, the heart becomes kind. This is the true chain of nourishment, not body feeding mind, but compassion feeding wisdom. So when we eat, let's not eat for pleasure alone. Let's eat to live, to be present, to keep the mind gentle and the heart awake. Eat to stay alive. not to stay distracted. Because the real purpose of food is not to fill the stomach, but to free the soul. Part 5. Eating and the Path of Practice. Virtue, stillness, and wisdom in every bite. In the Buddha's teaching, the path to freedom rests on 3 pillars: virtue, stillness, and wisdom. They are not separate practices. They are 3 breaths of the same life. Virtue keeps the heart pure, stillness calms the mind, and wisdom opens the eyes. And surprisingly, you can touch all 3 in a single meal. When we choose food that harms no life, we are practicing virtue. When we eat slowly without rush or greed, we are cultivating stillness. And when we understand the connection between what enters the body and what shapes the mind, we are awakening wisdom. That is the sacred link: food and freedom, body and awakening. Buddha taught, when the stomach is calm, the mind becomes still. And when the mind becomes still, wisdom begins to speak. But when the stomach is heavy, filled with indulgence and distraction, the mind becomes noisy, just like the world outside. In our modern culture, we live in the age of fast food, and also the age of fast minds. We eat quickly, we think quickly, we age quickly. We scroll through food the same way we scroll through life, without really tasting it. But when food is taken with mindfulness, every bite becomes a pause, a meditation. That's what the Buddha meant by right effort. You don't need more time. You just need more presence. Buddha taught, the one who eats once a day with mindfulness and gratitude lives in balance, healthy in body, peaceful in mind. This is not starvation. It is liberation from addiction. When food no longer controls the heart becomes light. When the heart is light, joy becomes natural. Eating mindfully is not about perfection, it's about direction. Each peaceful meal is a step toward freedom. Each calm stomach is a doorway to clarity. And every moment of awareness, even a single mindful bite, is a quiet act of awakening. Part 6. Mindful Eating, Turning Meals into Meditation. Before you begin to eat, pause. Just sit. Let the world slow down around you. Feel the quiet in your breath. Notice the weight of the bowl in your hands. Look at the food before you, not with hunger, but with awareness. See the rain that became this grain. See the sun that ripened it. See the hands that planted, harvested, and cooked it. This is not a plate of food. It is the story of life itself. Buddha taught, when you eat with awareness, each bite becomes a meditation. Because eating is not just feeding the body, it is feeding attention. And attention, when it is pure, heals everything it touches. Take one slow breath before your first bite. Then chew slowly. Listen to the sound of chewing. Feel the texture, the temperature, the rhythm of life dissolving in your mouth. Taste not only the flavor, but the miracle of being alive to taste at all. When you eat this way, there is no rush, no past, no future, only the sacred moment of nourishment. The mind that once wandered now returns home, to the body, to the breath, to the simple joy of being here. Buddha taught, when the mind is calm, the body heals. And so, mindful eating is not a diet. It's a gentle medicine for the restless mind, the tired heart, and the lonely soul. Every mindful bite is an act of self-healing, a small awakening. You don't have to escape the world to meditate. You can meditate right here, with a spoon, with a breath, with gratitude. So tonight, when you eat, don't ask, what should I have for dinner? Ask, how will I eat my dinner? Because peace doesn't come from what's on the plate, but from the heart that receives it. Eat slowly, breathe deeply, smile gently. This is how a simple meal becomes a meditation, and how every moment of your life becomes a prayer of peace. Part 7. The Meal of Compassion and Awareness. As we come to the end of this reflection, remember this simple truth. Vegetarianism is not a rule. It's not a badge of purity. It is a quiet expression of compassion and awakening. Eating in awareness is not about what appears on your plate. It is about what grows in your heart. Every mindful meal is an act of love, a soft refusal to harm, a silent vow to live kindly. The Buddha once said, "There is no practice greater than compassion." Because compassion is not something you learn. It is something you remember. Deep down, we already know how to love. We just forget when the world becomes too loud. But in a single quiet meal, when you chew slowly, when you breathe deeply, when you feel grateful, you begin to remember again. Every time you choose a peaceful meal, you are not only feeding your body, you are feeding the seed of compassion within you. That seed grows with every act of awareness, every calm breath, every gentle choice. And one day, it becomes a tree so vast that its shade can comfort the whole world. So tonight, when you sit down to eat, take a breath. Look at your food, smile softly, and whisper inside, "May this meal bring peace. May my heart be kind." Because when you eat with compassion, you are not just nourishing a life, you are awakening one. May your meals be peaceful. May your heart be kind. May your life be light.